Princess Academy by Shannon Hale, Chapter 1, Second Half. Mary looked to the east, where the yellow-green slopes and flat places of Mount Eskell climbed into the gray-blue peak. To the north, a chain of mountains bounded away into forever, purple, blue, then gray. She could not see the horizon to the south, where somewhere an ocean unfolded, mysterious. To the west was the Trader Road that led to the pass and eventually to the lowlands and the rest of the kingdom. She could not imagine the life in the lowlands any more than she could visualize an ocean. Below her, the quarry was a jangle of odd rectangular shapes, blocks half exposed, men and women working with wedges and mallets to free chunks from the mountain, levers to lift them out, and chisels to square them straight. Even from her hilltop, Mary could hear the chanting songs and the rhythms of the mallet, chisel, and lever, the sounds overlapping, the vibration stirring the ground where she sat. A tingle in her mind and a sense of Doter, one of the quarry women, came with a faint command, lighten the blow. Quarry speech. Mary leaned forward at the feel of it, wanting to hear more. The workers used this way of talking without speaking aloud so they could be heard despite the clay plugs they wore in their ears and the deafening blows of the mallets. The voice of quarry speech worked only in the quarry itself, but Mary could sometimes sense echoes when she sat nearby. She did not understand how it all worked exactly, but I heard a quarry workers say that all their pounding and singing stored up the rhythm in the mountain. Then, when they needed to speak to another person, the mountain used the rhythm to carry the message just for them. Just now, Doty must have been telling another quarrier to lighten his strike on a wedge. How wonderful it would be, Mary thought, to sing in time to call out in quarry speech to a friend working on another ledge, to share in the work. The Mary stem began to go limp in her fingers. What could she wish for? To be as tall as a tree, to have arms like her pa, to have an ear to hear the linder ripe for the harvest and the power to pull it loose. But wishing for impossible things seemed like an insult to the Mary flower and a slight against the God who made it. For amusement, she filled herself with impossible wishes. Her ma alive again, boots no rock shard could poke through, honey instead of snow. To somehow be as useful to the village as her own pa. A frantic bleating pulled her attention to the base of her slope. A boy of 15 pursued a loose goat through the knee-deep stream. He was tall and lean, with a head of tawny curls and limbs still brown from the summer sun. Peter. Normally, she would shout hello, but over the past year, a strange feeling had come inching into Mary, and now she was more likely to hide from him than flick pebbles at his backside. She had begun to notice things about him lately, like the pale hair on his tanned arm and the line between his brows that deepened when he was perplexed. She liked those things. She looked from the bald head of the Mary flower down to Peter's straw-colored hair and wanted something that she was too afraid to speak. "I wish," she whispered. Did she dare? "I wish that Peter and I—" A horn blast echoed so suddenly against the cliffs that Mary dropped the flower stem. The village did not have a horn, so that meant lowlanders. She hated to respond to the lowlanders' trumpet like an animal to a whistle, but curiosity overcame her pride. She grabbed the tethers and wrestled the goats down the slope. "Mary!" Peter jogged up beside her, pulling his goats after him. She hoped her face was not smudged with dirt. "Hello, Peter. Why aren't you in the quarry?" In most families, care of the goats and rabbits was performed only by those too young or too old to work in the quarry. My sister wanted to learn wedge work, and my grandmother was feeling sore in the bones, so my ma asked me to take a turn with the goats. Do you know what the trumpeting is about? Traders, I guess. But why the fanfare? You know, lowlanders, said Peter. They're so important. Everyone had some gas, and they trumpeted so the whole world would know the good news. He smiled in his way, with the right side of his mouth pulling higher than the left. The goats were breathing at one another like little children arguing. "Oh, really? Is that so?" Mary asked the lead goat as if she understood their talk. "What?" said Peter. "Your nanny there said that stream was so cold it scared her milk right into her mutton chops." Peter laughed, stirring her in a desire to say something more, something clever and wonderful. But the wanting startled all her thoughts away, so she clamped her mouth shut before she said something stupid. They stopped at Mary's house to tie up the goats. Peter tried to help by taking all the tethers, but the goats started to butt one another, the leads tangled, and suddenly Peter's ankles were bound. "Wait, stop," he said, and fell flat to the ground. Mary stepped in to try to help, and soon found herself sprawled beside him, laughing. "We're kicked in a goat stew. There's no saving us now." When they were finally untangled and standing upright, Mary had an impulse to lean forward and kiss his cheek. The urge shocked her, and she stood there dumb and embarrassed. That was a mess, he said. Yeah, Mary looked down, brushing the dirt and gravel from her clothes. She decided she'd better tease him quickly in case he had read her thoughts. If there's one thing you're good at, Peter Doterson, it's making a mess. That's what my mom always says, and everyone knows she's never wrong. Mary realized that the quarry was silent, and the only pounding she heard was her own heartbeat in her ears. She hoped Peter could not hear it. Another trumpet blow roused them to urgency, and they set off running. The trader wagons were lined up in the village center, waiting for business to begin, but all eyes were on a painted blue carriage that rolled into their midst. Mary had heard of carriages, but never seen one before. Someone important must have come with the traders. Peter, let's watch from, Mary started to say, but just then Bina and Leanna shouted Peter's name and waved him over. Bina was as tall as Peter, with hair browner than Mary's that hid her waist, the wind loose, and Leanna, with her large eyes, was acknowledged the prettiest girl in the village. They were 2 years older than Peter, but lately he was the boy they most preferred to smile at. Let's watch with them, said Peter, waving his smile suddenly shy. Mary shrugged. Go ahead. She ran the other way, weaving through the crowd of waiting quarry workers to find Marta, and did not look back. Who do you think it could be? Asked Marta, stepping closer to Mary as soon as she approached. Even in a large group, Marta felt anxious standing alone. I don't know, said Isa, but my ma says a surprise from a lowlander is a snake in the box. Isa was slender, though not as small as Mary, and shared the same tawny hair with her brother Peter. She was eyeing the wagon, her face scrunched suspiciously. Marta nodded. Dodo, Isa, and Peter's mother was known for her wise sayings. A surprise, said Fred. She had shoulder-length black hair and an expression of new constant wonderment. Though only 16, she was nearly as broad-shouldered and thick-armed as any of her 6 big brothers. Who could it be? Some rich trader? One of the traders looked their way with a patronizing smile. Clearly, it's a messenger from the king. The king? Mary felt herself gawk like a coarse mountain girl, but she could not help it. No one from the king had been to the mountain in a lifetime. They're probably here to declare Mount Esker the new capital of Danland, said the trader. The royal palace will fit nicely in the quarry, said the second trader. Really? Fred asked, and both traders snickered. Mary glared at them but did not speak up, afraid of sounding ignorant herself. Another trumpet blared, and a brightly dressed man stood on the driver's bench and yelled in a high, strained voice, I call your ears to hearken the chief delegate of Danland. A delicate man with a short, pointed beard emerged from the carriage, squinting in the sunlight that reflected off the white walls of the old quarry. As he took in the side of the crowd, his squint became a pronounced frown. Lords and ladies of... He stopped and laughed, sharing some private joke with himself. People of Mount Esker, as your territory has no delegates at court to report to you, His Majesty the King sent me to deliver you this news. A breeze tapped his hat's long yellow feather against his brow. He pushed it away. Some of the younger village boys laughed. This past summer, the priests of the Creator God took counsel on the birthday of the prince. They read the omens and divined the home of his future bride. All signs indicated Mount Esker. The chief delegate paused, seemingly waiting for a response. Though what kind Mary had no notion. A cheeraboo? He sighed, and his voice went higher. Are you so remote that you don't know the customs of your own people? Mary wished that she could chat out just the right answer, but like her neighbor, she was silent. A few traders chuckled. This has been a long Danlander custom, said the chief delegate, pushing the wind-beaten feather away from his face. After days of fasting and supplication, the priest performed a rite to divine which city or town is the home of the future princess. Then the prince meets all the noble daughters of that place and chooses his bride. You may be certain that the pronouncement of Mount Esker shocked many Danlanders, but who are we to argue with the priests of the Creator God? From the tightness of his tone, Mary guessed that he had indeed tried to argue with the priests of the Creator God and failed. As is the tradition, the king commanded an academy be created for the purpose of preparing the potential young ladies. The law dictates the academy be formed in the chosen town or village does not. He squinted and looked around. Indeed, does not have any buildings of appropriate size for such an undertaking. Given these circumstances, the priests agreed the academy could be lodged in the old stone minister's house near the mountain pass. The king's servants are even now preparing it for use. The wind tapped the feather on his cheek. He swatted it like a bee. On the morrow, all the girls in the village, aged 12 to 17, are ordered to the academy to prepare themselves to meet the prince. 1 year from now, the prince will ascend the mountain and attend the academy's ball. He himself will select his bride from among the girls of the academy. So let you prepare. The updraft thrust a feather the feather into his eye. He tore it from his hat and threw it at the ground, but the wind snatched it up and sent it flying out from the village, over the cliff and away. The chief delegate was back in his carriage before the feather was out of sight. Snake in a box, said Miri. Hey guys, thank you for watching my videos once again. It does mean a lot to me. While you're at it, go ahead, click that like button and subscribe. I promise I will try to get more videos out. But anyway, for now, have a great day and I will see you all soon.